Hello and welcome to Possibilities Cafe podcast. I'm Karen Barno, your host. Possibilities Cafe podcast is for women looking to ignite their possibilities, who know there's so much more out there in the world for them and are seeking and searching to find the opportunities that will match who they are to their dreams moving forward. Today, I want to talk to you about energy vampires. Now, I personally don't like the term energy vampires because when I hear it, I think, okay, if it's a vampire, I'm going to for sure recognize it. Because, I mean, we all watch vampires as we were children. We should know what they are. But energy vampires, you don't recognize them because there's different levels. You have the energy vampire, the person that comes into the room, and just these are kind of like the energy depleters. They come into the room, you get around people, and when they walk away, you think, man, I am so tired, or all of a sudden I'm grouchy, or, I'm angry, or just all these different emotions that are not positive. They're usually negative and not typically who you are, because you went from being very happy to all of a sudden sad or joyful to hateful. Those are kind of the energy drainers. But then there's another type of energy person they're like an empty ship, an empty vessel, and they walk the earth seeking people that they can take almost their lifeblood from them. And I get that's why we use the term vampire. So I want you to understand that these people really do drain you, and they drain you dry. So when you run into somebody and think, man, when I get around that person, I'm not happy, I'm not sad. They're an energy depleter, but they're not the energy vampire. Energy vampires go from person to person. And they're the people that, you notice they don't have a lot of friends in their lives. They go through a lot of relationships. They churn and burn relationships. They get married a lot because people eventually catch on. Because people eventually either catch on, or the energy vampire has drained everything from you and they need to move on to the next person. And I truly feel sorry for these people because usually they have severe trauma of some kind in their life, and they never learned how to foster their own identity. They never learned who they were going to be or who they wanted to be because they were too busy trying to be the person that the trauma was creating. So when they get close to somebody, like say they want, they're perpetually sad and, they just don't seem to make progress in their life, they'll gravitate towards a successful person, because that's the person that when they see them, it's like, I want to be that person. Now, instead of trying to create that person as themselves, instead of trying to figure out how to be more like that person, they just glob on. And it's a slow process. I mean, the person that pops into your life and they're gone 20 minutes later and you feel depleted is totally different than the person that they think about how to do this. It's a path. It's they just know how to do it. So when they first get together, they may be the most joyful, fun-filled person, but there's tips. There's signs that you can watch for. Do they have drama? Do they have a lot of drama in their lives? Because they're also usually great storytellers. They're usually very entertaining people because they need people around them. So they've learned to assimilate. You guys get the word. They learn to assimilate. Thank you. Assimilate into the crowd. They learn how to become whoever they're with. And that's another tip. When your friends are like, whenever Susie's around, Lord, she's like your twin. I can't believe how much alike you guys are. That's a hint that she could be draining from you. She could be taking from you. And, those are hints. There's other hints. Like I said, you're not the confident person you used to be. You're not, you're just not who you used to be. And people will start making comments about that too. Look at whoever is new in your life. And this could be a long ongoing thing. It could take seriously 1, 2, 3, 10 years to figure out that this person is in your life, because they're so systematic at how they do it. They have a system. And so you just got to keep watching for the tips. You got to watch for somebody that wants to like buddy up instantly. They want to be your best buddy. If they're an employee, they will be the best employee you could ever have, because they're pleasers to get what they want. They will do whatever they can to make you happy to get what they want. And before you know it, you're willingly turning over work to them. You're willingly promoting them and moving them up the line because they're doing so much. But you don't realize that going through the sides where they're sucking away from you who you are. And like I said, you wake up one day and it's like, where'd the confident me go? Or, I used to know how to do everything here, but now it just seems like I don't anymore. And if you ever go up to the person and say, you know what, I think I'm going to take this back and assign it over there because she's better suited, they will fight you because it's a big, just picture Vegas and you're sitting at this big gambling table, and you've got all this money on the middle of the table, all this betting money. They want to reach in and take it all because it's the only way they're happy. Because when they don't get what they want, when they don't get what they need, then they start attacking you. And again, because they're so good at this, they're so good at reading people that they know where your weakness is. They find your weaknesses fast. It's fascinating because I watch them. It's fascinating how fast they can find a weakness. Or if they're not sure, they think it's a weakness, but they're not sure, they'll throw out some trial balloons and see how you react. All at the same time, they're knocking you down while building you up. It's the weirdest thing. They'll sit there saying, well, as a boss, you're really not that good because you're not bossing everybody here. But man, I have learned so much from you. It's a double-edged sword. So whenever you feel like, that was a compliment and an insult all rolled into one, it was. And trust what you see, because I'll talk to so many clients that will come to me after they get this energy vampire out of their lives, and they'll be like, I was suspicious in the beginning. I kind of thought this person was off, and they don't even have to finish the sentence. Well, but you didn't, because they're joyful, they're happy, they are a good listener, they fulfilled whatever need you had in a moment, because that's what they look for. They're master detectives, just not for the positive. And when you get energy vampires into your life, it's hard to get them out because they also make you fearful. Not only because they can see your weaknesses, they look around in the outer banks and say, okay, who is a position of authority here that I can buddy up to? I don't want to be their best friend because I got, they might be able to tell what I really am, but just so I can make that appearance of such. So, some of you guys might be sitting there thinking, holy crap, that sounds like my husband or my best friend or the girl in my office. It's more common than you know. And sometimes, I'm going to say 10%, they don't realize they're doing it. And you can reason with them and say, you know what, this isn't working out because you're doing this, and they might. But most of them, this is their life. This is all they know. And I always think when you watch those movies where they have a ghost ship going out in the ocean and it's just kind of creaking along in the water and there's nobody on it, I always think of the energy vampires as a ghost ship, and how sad it must be to go through life and not have an identity, because they don't have an identity. Their identity is you. Their identity is whomever they're globbed onto. And as soon as they leave that person, they'll get another job so fast it'll make people's head spins. It doesn't matter if they've been fired 15 times, they'll get rehired in a month because they know how to read people fast, frighteningly fast. They have this amazing intuitive power, but they don't use it for good. They use it to fill up their ghost ship. But as they fill up their ghost ship and they deplete from you, you're got nothing left. They have to go on to the next one. And hopefully, or a lot of times people recognize that this something isn't right and this has to go. It could be your friends. Listen to your friends. If your friends come up to you and say, man, that Martha, how do you hang with her? She's always this or that. And you sit and go, well, no, I think she's great. Listen to your friends. If they're like, or even workmates, I don't know why you're always favoring her. And sometimes people just say that, but other times it's fact. And you think, why am I? Because they're not the best employees. They're not the best trained. They're not the best in their job. I mean, you can hire better, but they know how to make you think they're the best. They know how to play you. And that's what a true energy vampire is. And that's why I get why we say energy vampire, but we use it too freely. We use it for people that are just energy drainers. They just need a quick fix. And those are the people that are just having a really bad day, for instance, and they just need somebody to make them happy. So they sit next to you and they suck up some of your energy and they go. You know, everybody probably has a smidge of that in them, but these are the cold, calculating. They don't have a lot within. They're ghost ships floating from person to person, husband and husband, wife and wife, whatever, you know, friend to friend. I mean, they're the types that aren't even close to their own families usually. And they'll have a trauma story. Everything will be a trauma story, from, you know, what they got for Christmas to, you know, where they got that outfit. Nothing is just, oh, you know, I got great presents for Christmas, or I went, you know, shopping, you know, at Nordstrom's and love this outfit. It's never that. It's always like, well, I really needed new clothes. So I asked my husband and he said no. Then he said I could. So he gave me more money. Then I went home and then he ripped my clothes up. It's always drama. So if your light bulb's going off in your head right now saying, holy smokes, don't sit and think, well, maybe I can work with them. You can't. I've been through them. I know I've been through a professional energy vampire. I understand now exactly how they look, how they act, how they do it. Doesn't mean I'll never run into another one, because of course I will. Because caring people, kind, considerate, caring people get sucked in the fastest. And they know that. They look for the caregivers. They look for the empathics. They look for the spiritual people, because they always see the best. They always want to see the best. And they always think, well, I can help you. You know, they come with this big, huge trauma story and you're like, oh my gosh, I can help you. But you can't, because at the end of the relationship, you're left with nothing. You're left with barely knowing who you are, and you have to rebuild. So if you feel like you have something in that life, you've got to kick them to the curb, because they're not going to heal. I mean, maybe if you're a trained psychologist and you deal specifically with these people, maybe, but for the most part, value yourself. Love yourself enough to cut the strings. Love yourself enough to say, you know what, this isn't working out. You need to go be friends somewhere else. You need to go work somewhere else. Or you need to just step back. This is always a question I get asked a lot. In fact, I did a poll on my Facebook page of what topic everybody wanted, and this was number one, because I think we all wrestle with what it looks like. And I mean, heck, I'm 62 and I just now can sit down and describe to you step by step how they look, how they proceed, because I've watched them now, because I understand them. I can see them coming and I can watch what they're doing, because it's a system, and they all play the same system. They play upon your emotion. They play upon your caringness. They're the victim. They're always, always, always the victim. Nothing ever goes their way, ever, which is, I mean, that's pretty bad odds. Even, you know, if you're a human, you're still going to think by the end of your death, things have got to be about 50-50. I can imagine. I mean, maybe I'll give you 60-40, 70-30, but never 100% always going to go bad. It just isn't how it is, but it's their picture. Their picture never has happiness. Or if it has happiness, it goes downhill fast. You know, how was Christmas? Oh, Christmas was great. We did this, we did that. And then at the end, my husband got drunk and burned down a tree. Or at the end, you know, my dad came in or my mother came in and stole all of our money or take all. See, it's never a positive ending. So I hope this has helped you guys identify the difference between an energy depleter and an energy vampire, because they're way different. Energy depleters are just people that are running low, maybe for that 5-10 minutes, running low. An energy vampire sucks you dry and then kicks you to the curb and moves on to the next one. And you're lucky they move on to the next one. And I will say, a lot of times the moving on is not necessarily voluntary. Usually you have to terminate them or get them out of their lives, because they just will keep sucking. So I hope this helped. If you have any questions or anything, please let me know, you know, send me a comment. hit me up on my Facebook page, my YouTube channel, and let me know, you have questions. If you're interested in starting your own path, starting your own life, and you want to do an online courses are going crazy this time with, 2020 and COVID. This is the time. If you're 55, 60, 65 years old and you're looking for your what's next, start an online course. I give you 3 steps. It's a roadmap of how to take you from zero to get your online course up and running. Check it out on my website, KarenBarno.com. Take care. Have a great day, and I'll talk to y'all later.